Strategies and accommodations to manage the impact of the environment can be an effective support for the dyslexic. The question to ask is, what is stopping the dyslexic brain from engaging easily in the task, and what can be done to make it easier? In this section, we look at managing visual stress and auditory stress in the environment. There are two ways to manage the impact. One is with strategies, and these are specific techniques or methods dyslexics use to accomplish a task more effectively. This is something that the dyslexic themselves do. The other is with accommodations. These are adjustments or modifications provided by others, such as the workplace or the tertiary institution, for example, might provide extra time on a test. The workplace might provide a quiet space, or it might allow the use of bullet points in reports. Sometimes workplaces will ask dyslexics, "What do you need?" Understanding what accommodations would support dyslexics means you would be able to give them some suggestions. How information is shown visually can impact on how dyslexics can engage with it. Seeing too much text at once can make the dyslexic's brain go offline and stop them engaging with what it is they need to read. The dyslexic can apply strategies for how much text they see at once, and then how to notice the important information. Something as simple as putting blank paper over the text that you don't need to read at first enables the dyslexic to focus on the text they need to look at. With reading books, use chapter summaries or key points, and also look at the first 1 or 2 paragraphs of the chapter to get an idea about what the chapter is about. This meets the dyslexic's need to gather information for the big picture before getting into the detail. Sometimes dyslexics go through the whole book like this, just picking up on the bits of the big picture of each chapter before they go back to look at the detail in each chapter. When dyslexics are reading information, we're able to highlight the important parts on the first read. This means when you're looking over the material again, the dyslexic doesn't need to engage with all of it again. They can just look at the highlighted parts. And this makes it easier to see important information where focusing on details makes it easier to miss those important bits. Reducing glare can benefit some dyslexics who have a co-occurring visual processing issue with their dyslexia. If working on a computer, use the night light or change the background color of a document so it is not all white. This is an example of how to use highlighting. When information is shown like this, it's hard to line up the lines. The writing is on a white background, making the glare overwhelming the black writing. And the spacing of the writing and the numbers are close together, as well as there's a lot of numbers to sequence and retain. Here we can see by highlighting the alternating lines, it creates space to see the information easier and reduces the likelihood of mucking up the line you are reading. Important information is highlighted at the top, so you know what to look at when you see it next time. Being able to visually create order helps clear the clutter from a dyslexic's brain and also makes it easier to engage with the information. In this picture, it shows how lining up information and putting it into an order makes it easier to engage with, as the ordering is done already and the dyslexic doesn't have to try and do it in their head. Accommodations that workplaces and learning organisations can put in place to support dyslexics with visual stress include reducing glare so it's easier to see text. So this can be done by printing reports and paper on coloured paper and by providing natural light as much as possible, as opposed to the fluoro lighting. This all helps dyslexics with reducing glare. Also allowing the use of dyslexia-friendly font. These small changes can greatly improve engagement for dyslexics. Being realistic with time, and this may be allowing more time to read reports before a meeting. Being mindful that visual stress means that dyslexic may have to read in chunks of time rather than doing it all at once. In providing technology to ease reading demands, such as read aloud functions. And this is now provided as part of the programs for Microsoft Word, Google Docs, and PDFs. Listening and understanding verbal instructions can be difficult for dyslexics when they don't get the idea of the big picture from the information that's been told to them. If they are anxious about understanding the verbal information being given, it's going to be even harder for them to process and understand it. Another issue is if there's too much noise in the workplace or the classroom, which you may find in those open plan office and study spaces. This can create a distraction for the dyslexic's brain, again making it harder for them to process the verbal information. Dyslexic strategies to manage this auditory stress can include writing notes as the information is given or soon after it is given, or asking for the person to give the instructions in writing. Using technology such as recording notes or videoing the person showing you what it is to be done is another way of managing it. This recording on the phone for the video, or alternatively, recordings for online meetings now have inbuilt recording and artificial intelligence for transcribing. Workplace accommodations can include allowing dyslexics more time to process that verbal information. Also, by giving it to the dyslexic in little and often chunks rather than one big stream is helpful. Allowing the use of noise-reducing headphones to aid concentration. Providing written notes to support what's been given verbally. And also for the workplace to create an environment where it's okay to ask for clarification or to repeat the instructions given.